I'd like to welcome you to the April 23rd, 2007 Planning Commission meeting for the City of Thousand Oaks. Please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Will the Secretary please call roll?
Commissioner Fisher?
Here.
Chair Fisher. Commissioner Reynolds? Here. Commissioner Adams? Adam?
Here.
Commissioner Grumney? Here. Commissioner Lunn?
Here.
All members are present and accounted for.
Okay, we'll move to item number 4, public comments. Members of the public are invited to address the Commission on issues that are within the Commission's purview and not on the agenda. Each speaker is allowed 5 minutes, and I do not have any public comments. I do have cards for the specific agenda items, though. Okay, no other public comments. We will go to written comments, announcements, continuances. Mr. Town.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have no supplemental packet for this evening's meeting and no announcements at this time.
Will the Secretary please call case 6A?
Hearing advertised as required by law is hereby open to consider item 6A, SUMJ 2006-70688, applicant Galetto's Bar and Grill, request to allow live entertainment and change of operating hours for a restaurant.
Ms. Pedroso?
Good evening, Chair Fisher and members of the Commission. The request in front of you is for the to allow the live entertainment at an existing restaurant called Galetto's at 982 South Westlake Boulevard, and also to allow the change the hours of operation. The live entertainment is going to be happening during the hours of operation, and are allowed to have up to 4 musicians, and it's going to provide background music. The music is going to be playing indoors. It's not going to be outdoor. The live entertainment is not going to be held outside on the patio. And the hours of operation, they're proposing to be open from 11 a.m. to midnight, Monday through Saturday, and 4 p.m. to 11 p.m. on Sundays. And this has about 2 to 3 hours per day, except for Saturday, when the additional, it becomes an 8 hours of additional operation. The project, again, like I said, it was located at 982 South Westlake Boulevard, and Galetto's takes pretty much this whole end of the building over here. The outdoor patio is in this courtyard area, and across from here, from Galetto's, is the Natural Cafe. So it's pretty much on the center of the shopping center, and the nearest residential is about 650 feet away from that, so there shouldn't be any issues as far as noise. This is a picture from the parking lot looking into the restaurant. Again, this is the outdoor area, dining area, and this is the restaurant that we're talking about. Again, the approval of this live entertainment and hours of operation would include the background music that will be played indoors, and the nearest residential is about 650 feet to the south, and the proposed hours of operations are also consistent with other restaurants in the area. Our staff recommendation is to approve SUP Major Mod 2006-7688 based on the findings that is in your staff report and the conditions included. The only item that I wanted to point out, that condition number 15, in regards to the security, the police department condition, it reads that the Thousand Oaks Police Department reserves the right to make further comments or conditions related to security or safety prior to issuance of the occupancy permit. There's no occupancy permit. The restaurant is already there. So this condition is to read prior to commencement of live entertainment. So that's the only comment I wanted to add. And with that, staff is available here for any questions you may have.
Questions to staff? Commissioner Reynolds.
Thank you. Good evening. I just wanted to ask if the second part of condition 14 is a normal statement about the notification of the police department for special.
Yes, what it is, and sometimes, well, a lot of these places they have a special event, like maybe they have a special luncheon, excuse me, sometimes they will have maybe a New Year's type of party or something that is larger than that, that is going to bring a lot of people at one time. And sometimes what we ask for them is to let us know ahead of time, so in case that anything happens, that we prepare for it. So it's pretty much a standard condition.
Okay, thank you. And has the applicant agreed to all the conditions?
Yes, he has.
Okay, thank you. And I should mention that I was out at the location and talked to a young lady. I just wanted to know where they were going to be located in the restaurant. She showed me just inside the front door. Thank you.
Commissioner Lynn.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm glad you clarified that. Make sure you weren't out dancing.
No.
Okay. I had a question about condition number 10 in terms of whether it's boilerplate language or not in regards to how we regulate the size of the band. And I think what we're looking here for is obviously probably decibel level and sound, but a 2-person band can be loud and a 4-person band might be a little quieter. And is that something that we normally do?
There I am, sorry. Probably Ms. Noonan can expand in some of the ordinance requirements, but we do have noise criteria that we follow. Anytime that it becomes a nuisance, that's how we kind of control when something is, where a 2-person band is louder than a 4-person band. The intent, and if you read on the conditions, the intent of this is to have background music, and that means we want to have a concert or anything that is loud that is going to attract, people coming down and making it louder. So we do say in the conditions that it is specifically background music. And that's the only way we can control it, is by, like I said, with the noise ordinance in regards to when it becomes a nuisance.
I appreciate that. I understand where you're going with that. My only question there, recognizing that as part of the condition, it is background music, but I was just curious whether this is what we normally do, because I hate to be in a position of telling somebody, having been in a band myself, how many musicians that we have to have, because it could be the critical part, the part that I can't play, like drums or singing or whatever else that requires talent.
Yes, it is kind of a standard condition in a way, but in reality, what we did was ask the applicant what kind of bands he's looking for, and he specifically said it was about 3 to 4 people in a band. And I see what you're saying about if you have 3, 4 people, you're kind of restricting what it is. What if you bring a drum? Even in some jazz bands, you'll probably still have drums in some cases. So I do understand that. I guess I can leave it up to the commission to discuss if they feel comfortable being a little bit more genetic, or if it's okay. I know we have approved other entitlements for live entertainment that has used this language in the past.
Thanks.
Any other questions? Nope. Okay, we'll go ahead and open the public hearing and go to our applicant, John Borghetti. Mr. Borghetti, please state your name, city of residence, and you will have 15 minutes.
John Borghetti. I live in Westlake Village, and I am representing my restaurant, Galeto Bar and Grill. Just want to let you know that we have been there for 12 years in business, and we never had any complaints about noise or disruption in the area. And we just want to improve services to our community, and we are aiming to do mostly for middle-aged, persons. So we are going to bring just bands or individuals, and most of the time it's going to be just a guitarist or somebody playing by himself, soft music, jazz, bossa nova, music that's not aimed to disrupt, or create a lot of noise. And basically, those are my elements that I want to mention about it, and request that you approve this so we can go and provide a better extended service that goes with what the area already is providing to the other customers in the area.
Questions of the applicant? Commissioner Adam?
Good evening, Mr. Borghetti.
Hi, good evening.
You're currently playing music now in the restaurant, correct?
Yeah, we're playing here and there, because we didn't know we needed this approval beforehand. So
For the music that you're playing now, what days and hours do you play that now?
we do sometimes on weekends. For instance, last night we had a jazz, a couple of people providing jazz, playing jazz there. We do from 7 o'clock until 9 o'clock during on Sundays, sometimes Mondays and Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and until midnight during the weekdays. Weekends, Fridays and Saturdays.
And you're requesting to extend your hours for your business?
No, I just want to request the permission to do it, and the same hours. We are not doing passing that hour.
So the music would stay about the same as it is now?
The same kind of music.
No, I'm saying that the hours that you
The hour is the same, yes.
would stay about the same.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, I do, because in our report it says that your restaurant from Monday through Thursday is only open till 9:30 p.m., but you're asking now for that to be extended to 12 midnight.
Yes, ma'am.
So you do close at 9:30 now?
Right now, no, not actually. We are closing a little later. Because, that was 12 years ago when I requested, and as the area grew and other business came in the area, they were providing services there until 1 o'clock, like, several places that you read in here. We felt we need to keep up with the competition and provide the same kind of service and also entertainment.
Thank you.
No other questions of the applicant? Okay, thank you, Mr. Borghetti.
Thank you very
We'll get back to you shortly. Okay, I have one additional speaker on case 6A, Mr. Eric Coligio. Please state your name, city of residence, and you'll have 5 minutes.
Name is Eric Colicchio. I live in Westlake Village. I live across the street from the Regency Center in Village Glen Homes, Westlake Village. The noise across the street is very bad. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. The trucks and Blockbuster customers stop screeching in at around 11 p.m. when Vaughn's closes. At around 11:30 to 12, it quiets down a bit. Then at 3 a.m. to 5 a.m., the delivery trucks start screeching in again. This is like every night. Around 4:45 a.m., the Starbucks coffee junkies show up. Keep in mind, all of these offenders are very noisy, from screeching cars and trucks to loud stereos and very loud talking and yelling. That is the way it is right now. Okay. I've been to City Hall many times. I've filed many, many complaints to no avail. I have worked very closely with Mr. Enrique Lagasta, Vice President of Regency Center, Westlake Village, for going on 2 years to stop such activities as, and not restricted to, late night front door loadings of shops, steam cleaning the sidewalks at 3 a.m. in the morning, high pressure washing of Vaughn's shopping carts at 2 a.m. Okay. It's pathetic. Now we have a window from 12 midnight to 3 a.m. which I can sleep undisturbed. Okay, I haven't slept in like 4 years. Okay? Galeto proposes to stay open a little later and take the last few, of the 3 hours of my sleep. This would mean their customers will be pulling out, buzzed, at about 12:30 in the morning, which takes away another half hour of my 3 hours of sleep. And I'm sure the Galeto guys would reply, "Oh, we have so much respect for our neighbors. We would never let that happen." Well, not too long ago, Galeto had a power failure. So they put 6 huge generators raging for 24 hours straight for about 15 days and 15 nights. Now, if that is any kind of an indication how Galeto treats its neighbors, we don't want any part of it. And then last but not least, a Thousand Oaks City Ordinance, one of Section 5-21.03, clearly states the public welfare, morals, and conduct rules to be followed, and until City Hall decides to enforce such rules in a fair and balanced manner regarding the noise that exists now, we will not agree for any more late-night activity in our area, and especially not to serve late-night alcohol. You know, we already are filled with 4:30 in the morning coffee junkies for Starbucks, which is just out of control. It's not conductive with our area. And, P6 is a fine example, and I don't think they serve late anymore. P6 was a good example of cars screeching out of there late at night. And for those of you who don't know, Ogore Road's just like a drag strip at night, okay? So we just ask that the request for late hours be denied, and it's nothing personal. The guy's a great guy, he's a really nice guy, but that whole Regency Center is out of control. It's totally out of control. And what I have to do to stop it is apparently go over in 3 in the morning and have a truck driver arrested, and then it'll come before you guys. I've talked to Jeff Ware. I've talked to a lot of people about the noise over there. So without getting too far off track, I kind of disagree, because I don't have many hours of sleep as it is. And I'm not about to give a half an hour out of the 3 that I have up without a fight. I know I'll probably lose the fight, but at least it's on record that I disagree. And hopefully you guys in the future can clean up the noise mess. Thanks for your time.
Questions of the speaker? No questions? Thank you
I'd
very
love
much.
some. If you got one, I'd love to answer it, man.
Thank you. Okay, we don't have any other speakers. We'll return to staff for comments, questions.
I don't have any comments. If the commission has any questions.
Questions of staff. Commissioner Grumney.
Within the same center, there is also another restaurant, Finn's. And does it currently have live entertainment? Because I know I have actually gone to dinner there and heard live entertainment. And I think they also have extended hours. Is that correct?
The extended hours, I believe you're correct. As far as the live entertainment, I will have to check into that.
Other questions of staff? No? Okay, we'll return to the applicant, Mr. Brigetti. Go ahead and come to the podium, state your name, city of residence again for the record, and you'll have 5 minutes rebuttal.
Yeah, just to change a little misconception of the gentleman, the power failure, it wasn't our problem. It was the Regency Center's problem. And we had no control of the time they were supposed to have fixed the problem or not, because that was part of their power grid that was in the outside of our control. And the fact that the gentleman is concerned about noise, like he said, is expected that I'm going to say that we are going to try our best. And since we have been there, we never had any complaints about noise after, the time he's complaining about. Our customers, like I said, we are not bringing irresponsible people. It's not a bar that it's a sports bar. It's not a sports bar. The music we want to put is jazz, soft, that's going to bring people that are going to be responsible. And I don't foresee any problems with this concern of the gentleman.
Questions of the applicant? No questions. Thank you, Mr. Borghetti.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll close the public hearing and go to commission discussion and or a motion. Commissioner Adam?
Yes, thank you. Well, the hours that Colettos are requesting would be actually less than some of the surrounding restaurants, number one. Number two, Blockbuster and Vons, I'm very familiar with that center. I don't live too far from it. Blockbuster and Vons would be considerably closer to Mr. Colicchio than Galetto's would. And I think that being 650 feet away, or maybe further than Mr. Colicchio's, I think would pretty much remove the ability to hear the music, especially since the music's conditioned to be inside the establishment, not outside, not on the patio. And I think we have to strike a difference between Vons and Blockbuster and Agora Road and Galetto's. Vons, Blockbuster, and Agora Road aren't what we're hearing tonight. We're hearing Galetto's. And I think that for the conditions that would be imposed, Galetto's would stay within the noise parameters, and I think that I could make a motion that we would approve the special use permit. I think it's consistent with the zoning, and I don't think Galetto's per se will have any detrimental effect on the neighborhood. So I would like to move that we vote to approve the SUP from Galetto's Restaurant.
Would that be approval with the findings and subject to the conditions and revised condition number 15?
Yes, thank you. Condition 15, whereby we wouldn't need an occupancy permit because they already have one, correct? Yes, it would.
Comments to the motion? Sir, the public hearing is closed. Comments to the motion, Commissioner Lynn?
I would support the motion and point out that the hours of surrounding businesses are greater than what the applicants are here, and then also to comment on the applicant's honesty under questioning by the commission. We appreciate your honest answers to the question, and with that, with my support of the motion, I would like to not admonish, but remind you that your operating hours and the terms and conditions aren't subjective in nature and to be applied as you see fit. It's as the city gives you permission to operate under those conditions. And with that comment, I'll support the motion.
Commissioner Reynolds?
Thank you. And I also will support the motion and concur with Commissioner Lund's remarks regarding the hours. I think it's important, and to be a good neighbor, that the hours that you are allowed to under this should be adhered to.
And I too will support the motion, although Mr. Colicchio has some valid concerns with the other part of the shopping center. Certainly I'd recommend staff hopefully making contact with him. We have his information on his card here to hopefully clear up some of that, because certainly I'd be concerned on that end of it. But for this particular project, it is consistent and with the rest of the restaurants in the area. With that, vote please.
Motion passes 5-0.
And there's a 10-day appeal period. Will the secretary please call case 6B?
Hearing advertised as required by law is hereby open to consider case 6B, MCA 2007-70052, brought about by the City of Thousand Oaks to change processing requirements for alterations and additions to existing townhomes and condominium units and modify accessory buildings exemptions relating to the precise plan of design process.
Mr. Town?
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. Tonight we'll be considering an amendment to a portion of the municipal code that relates to additions and alterations to existing townhomes and condominium units. And if I could draw your attention, please, to the PowerPoint presentation. The case number, as we just indicated, is 2007-70052. And the purpose of this is to modify the processing requirements for, again, additions and alterations to individual townhome and condominium units. And secondly, to establish consistent application processing standards for single-family and townhome/condominium modifications that meet development requirements. The amendment involves a change in general policies and procedures, and therefore it is not a project under CEQA, and therefore it is exempt from CEQA. In terms of the current code requirements, section 9-4.904H, which is in your packet, is really the heart of what we'll be talking about this evening, of the municipal code, established processing standards for modifications to townhome, multifamily condominium, and apartment projects. And these current regulations require a major modification application, which is, of course, reviewed by the Planning Commission for improvements such as any living area or building footprint expansion. Even a very small amount currently triggers that major modification requirement. Current code requirements also stipulate that a minor modification application is appropriate for basic alterations such as repair and replacement of mechanical equipment. The Residents' Roundtable has been involved in this and in fact came up with the basic recommendations that you're hearing tonight. In July of 2006, the City Council authorized the Residents' Roundtable to study the processing requirements of this code section, and pursuant to that review, the Residents' Roundtable determined, and staff concurs, that the process that we are discussing could be simplified without any negative impact to design review standards. On February 5th of this year, the Roundtable recommended this municipal code amendment to modify the processing requirements, and on February 20th, the City Council initiated the MCA. The basic proposal tonight is to use the city's precise plan of design process, which currently exists and is used routinely, rather than the minor and major modification processes for certain modifications to townhomes and condominiums. The other proposed element in this amendment is to add language to advise homeowners to contact their homeowners associations or property owner association, as the case may be, for authorization before proceeding with their proposal. I'd like to note that there are still a number of areas where the major modification process would still be applicable and which would still come before you for review and approval. A few examples include two-story additions in exclusively single-story projects, also additions where the proposed floor area exceeds 50% of the original building footprint. Any project not meeting all applicable development standards would still be heard by the Planning Commission, and as always, any policy or precedent-setting items would be brought by staff to you for your review. Minor and major modification processes would remain applicable for alterations to more than one unit or common areas. So what we're talking about tonight are individual units, not a number of units and modifications to them. Benefits of this proposed amendment. There are 5 primary benefits. First of all, are reduced costs to the homeowner. A major modification permit currently costs $2,560. If we go to a precise plan of design process for these types of additions and modifications, that price will drop to between either $420 or $705, depending on whether the precise plan of design is heard by staff or the commission. Faster processing times is another benefit. A more consistent PPD process for townhome, condominiums, and single-family detached homes. Potentially greater involvement by homeowners associations, and as I mentioned earlier, that we would still maintain the city's design standards. Therefore, in conclusion, staff would recommend that the Commission make a recommendation, this will be to the City Council, to approve Municipal Code Amendment MCA 2007-70052, subject to the findings detailed in the staff report. And with that, staff would be happy to answer any questions. Myself, of course, as well as Marjane Behzadi. Here with me, Ms. Behzadi is supervisor for the permit processing section in community development.
Questions of staff? No questions? Okay. We'll go ahead and open the public hearing. I have one speaker card, Ms. Debbie Henninger. Ms. Henninger, you have listed that you're representing the Northwood Homeowners Association. Is that correct? Okay. Come on forward, and you will have 15 minutes.
Thank you. I don't have a whole lot to say. My name is Debbie Henninger. I'm the president of the Northwood HOA, and I do live within the HOA. I am a homeowner. I've been here before on numerous projects. We've had a couple of homeowners that have done some nice expansions on their homes and have just overall increased the property value of their own homes as well as ours. We have, in the last 5 years, taken a very proactive stance on taking a community that was built between 1975 and 1979 and upgraded the outward appearance. Some of that appearance has, in fact, a major part of the upgrade has been to get rid of the cedar shake shingles that were put on the buildings on each home unit for design. And we've found a nice material comparable that looks like shake but has a very nice life of like 40 to 50 years, and we've approved it. And our homeowners have had to get permits here. Actually, they don't get the permit. The people that are doing the siding replacement do pull the permits here. The only thing that we ask our residents is to clear everything with our architecture committee. I understand the city doesn't want to enforce HOA rules, and I don't blame you. I wouldn't want to do them either, even though I have to. We deal with some very difficult people sometimes. But what I would just like to see, I know some of the contractors have come down to pull permits and said they ran into difficult times and said that they couldn't get approval for the permits unless they were given HOA approval first. So we've had contractors come back to our architecture committee and to myself and to the board for approval on the project. We sign off on it, and then it's an extra trip down here. And we'd just like to see that process streamlined so that when they come in and pull the permit, they can attach the permit to the homeowner's application for the architectural request. And that way we can see everything is already in order, and it would make our job a whole lot easier. It would not only streamline it for our contractors, but it would also streamline it for us. Does anybody have any questions of me?
Questions? Commissioner Reynolds.
Good evening. I appreciate you coming down and talking to this item. I just wondered, though, what if the permit is pulled, the fees are paid, and your association doesn't approve? Wouldn't it be better for your association to approve it first before?
Generally, when a homeowner is asking to do something, it's for an architectural design that's already been pre-approved, and we've already given them the guidelines in writing on several occasions. And we also invite them to our board meetings once a month. If they have any questions prior to even putting in the request or the permit, they ask then. My husband happens to be head of the architecture committee. He's got a building and design license, and he talks to these people. They'll call him up and they'll discuss it first, and he lets them know right off the bat whether it's going to be approved or not. So it would just streamline the process even more for them.
Well, that sounds good if the people are cooperative, but I know I ran an association for many years, and sometimes people aren't, and I was always pleased when the city would ask for the Caneo Oaks.
I'll tell you, we haven't had any
approval,
problems.
so, yeah.
We haven't had any problems
Okay,
with
well,
the current board.
That's
Not at all.
interesting. Thank you.
Other questions? Commissioner Lynn?
Chair Fisher, I'm not sure whether this would be a question. Good evening, and thanks for coming down this evening, for you or for staff. But it seems to me, and I appreciate your comments, and streamlining is what we should all be about. But what I'm concerned about is a position that the city might be in terms of some sort of litigious situation that we've given approval and you say no, and then we're chasing the cat's tail here. And I want to, in terms of time, are we talking about a significant time saving for the applicant here?
For me? The only thing that I can say is that the state standard and our standard with the CCRs used to be 45 days. Now the state standard is 30 days to get a response, either pro or con, whatever the people are requesting. The way our CCNRs are written also is that if the appropriate approvals have not been given by our architecture committee, we have every right to take them to court on our own, or to have them turn back and put in place the pre-existing conditions before they were changed, which has nothing to do with the city.
Other questions of the speaker? No? Thank you very much. Thanks for coming down. Okay, we'll go to staff for follow-up.
Good evening. I'll go ahead and address Ms. Herringer's concerns. Yes, we do at times require HOA approval, and the reason is that we've had a lot of trouble too with some of the homeowners associations that get mad at staff for not first approving something that comes in. So it's sometimes difficult to make a decision and judgment. However, with that said, the exterior of condominium and townhouses is sometimes considered common area, and the HOA a lot of times would be considered the legal owner of that area, and in those times staff requires HOA signatures. Otherwise, we basically just advise HOA approval.
Ms. Noonan?
If I could just expand a little bit. Again, the only time that we're going to require HOA approval is if, as Ms. Bizzatti said, is if the HOA if it involves potentially common area. Otherwise, the applicant does not have to get HOA approval from the city in order for the city to issue the permit. We tell them that. We advise them that the issuance of the permit doesn't constitute approval under the CCNRs. So if there is any problem where they get a permit from the city and then they do something in violation of in violation of the HOA rules, frankly, that's between the homeowner and the HOA, and the city doesn't get involved in this. What this municipal code does, a provision of it, is basically puts it in code that although we do not enforce the CCNRs, you should contact the HOA to get approval from them, but realize that the issuance of any permit from the city does not constitute approval from the HOA. So it's basically just putting it in writing now.
Any other questions of staff? Nope. Okay, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Open for commission discussion or motion. Commissioner Lunn.
Thank you, Commissioner Chair Fisher. I appreciate the speaker coming down tonight to stimulate that conversation with us tonight. Thank you very much for taking your time out to come down. I think this is good government at its best. I concur with the staff report. I like the fact that it's consistent, where we're looking to make things consistent for our homeowners here. I think it's great anytime that we can streamline a government process and not have any negative impact in terms of our stringent planning laws and protocols. And I just think that this, in my view, is government at its best. If we can save our residents some money and we can streamline processes and they can get things done in a timely manner, I think it's good. And so with that, I will move to recommend to the City Council that that we approve MCA 2007-752, subject to the attached conditions and staff's report.
Comments to the motion? Commissioner Adam?
I can support Commissioner Lund's motion. I know that fees have absolutely skyrocketed since prior to 1998. I think some of the fees were as little as under $100, and now we're up to $775 for a minor modification and $2,560 for a major. So, and the notification process has gotten very lengthy and burdensome, and I just think this is a really efficient and equitable process to use the PPD and the building permit system versus the major and minor modification. I'd like to thank the Residents Roundtable as well for studying this issue. I think they did a good job, and I think there's still plenty of safeguards in there for deviations to standards where the Planning Commission could review the project. So I would support the motion.
Thank you. Other comments? Vote, please.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, we'll move to item number 8, Community Development Department reports and referrals.
Thank you, Chair Fisher. If I could draw the Commission's attention to page 44 of your packet in terms of the upcoming tentative agenda. We have 2 items scheduled for your next meeting on May 14th. That includes a review of the city's 2007-2009 capital improvement project budget for recommendation in terms of general plan consistency to the City Council. And then second is the Ventu Thousand Oaks LLC project, which is located at 500 North Ventu Park Road at the old Home Depot site, which involves construction of a new shopping center, hotel, and related improvements. So that should be coming before you at the next meeting. And then also, if I could draw your attention to page 46 of your packet to mention that on April 3rd, the City Council considered the menu board item, which you had looked at and made a recommendation on February 26th, I should say, of this year. They considered it and approved it with the slightly larger size, the 45 square feet maximum for the sign area standard and height of 7 feet. And so that item was considered by them, and they rendered a decision on that date of April 3rd. And that's all that I had at this time. Thank you.
Minutes of March 26, 2007. Commissioner Reynolds.
Move approval of the minutes of the meeting March 26, 2007.
Vote, please.
Motion passes 5-0.
AB 1234 reports. Any reports from the Commission? None? Okay, Commission comments. Commissioner Reynolds.
Thank you. I just wanted to mention 2 things that are happening in our community. First of all, the chili cook-off being put on by the Thousand Oaks Rotary Club, which I'm a member of. It's Sunday, April 29th. And then the American Diabetes Association, their Tour de Cure. This is the 3rd year that we've done it. Council member Jackie Irwin is chairing it, and it's a bicycle ride of 5, 30, or 62 miles. And I know our chairman rode last year and is riding again this year. Raised a lot of money for the diabetes organization, and hopefully someday there will be a cure found. If you're interested in the Tour de Cure on Sunday, May 6th, you can go to diabetes.org/tour. Thank you.
Other comments? No? Okay, I'd like to adjourn tonight's meeting of the Planning Commission in memory of Matthew Kearns, Father Stephen Kearns, Senior Planner in the Community Development Department. And we'll adjourn to 6:30 p.m. on May 14th, 2007.